Here is another podcast I would like to make about my journey to recovery from olfactory reference syndrome. You can find the, we can say, first part of what I'm going to talk about, and it's called If You Think You Have TMAU but your family and friends can't smell it, listen to this. So yeah, that's the name of it. And as you can already see from the name, it's about it's focused on people who believe they have TMAU. So because I was actually the same, and I also thought that I have TMAU, and I didn't want to believe that that's something else because those symptoms looked so similar. And at the end of the day, I found out that that's not my problem actually, and I was wrong all the time. And what is going on with me is not that I have actual BO, but that I just suffer from something that is called Olfactory Reference Syndrome. You can Google it, and as I said in previous podcast, there's a pretty good article about it on Wikipedia, and there's loads and loads of other articles that can help you to understand what this psychiatric condition is about. So yes, the first podcast is a lot about that. I think it has like 20 minutes talking about trying to understand the differences and trying to convince those people who are a little bit confused and they don't really know if they have TMAU or something like that, or if it's just in their head. That actually might be just in their head and that they can be deluded. One of the parts of this condition is that you might have delusions, and one of the specifics of deluded person is that they don't want to believe that they are deluded, so it's very difficult to convince them that they have delusions. It's quite natural because we usually don't want to doubt our five senses and our processing of reality, so it's difficult to admit something like that, especially if you have never had issues like this, like paranoia or something, and then all of a sudden someone tell you, listen, you have delusions, this is not really happening, and you are like, no, I think this is pretty real, and I think I really do have some issues. So you start to visit physicians and you still believe that there is something wrong with your body or with your metabolism, stuff like this, because it's easier to think that. It's easier to believe this than to doubt your hearing, your eyes. Sometimes, that's just what you're seeing, what you hear around you. It's very difficult. But once you start to work with the idea, I can say from my own experience that things start to move really quickly for better. As I said, a couple of months ago, I booked my first appointment with my psychiatrist, and that changed everything for me. And at that time, I was really in very bad condition. I was mentally in really bad place, and it's very hard to talk about it because honestly, what I remember, I was so depressed, so anxious, and I was isolating myself so much, struggling financially, and I was suicidal. And when we started to work with the idea that all of it is just in my head, none of it is really happening, and first of all, obviously I didn't want to believe it, but on the other hand, I also wanted to believe it, because it's quite good news. So that's something you want to hear. Like, it's not happening, well, miraculously, it's not, but it's very, very difficult, but you can do it. She told me, she said, that's the hardest part, to convince those patients that they are deluded, because they are like, yeah, I do believe it's just in my head, and then something happened, and it might be innocent situation, and they start again. You see, I told you, I just heard this, and stuff like this. So sometimes you slip away, and it's just happening. Well, I wanted to believe that this is mental condition. I wanted, because actually my psychiatrist was the first person that actually acknowledged that there is something serious going on, and she told me she's experienced in this field. She has worked with such people before, and that convinced me that this might bring some change, and it actually did it. Now, couple of months after my first appointment, I feel much better, and I would like to talk about the therapy and inner work I've been trying to go through, and what was actually helping, what is actually helping, what I'm doing to keep myself on track. And sometimes it's very difficult, and I'm still very conscious about it, but it's so much better now, and I still feel the improvement. So, first of all, there is such a thing. You need to find out the reason why this is happening. There is usually a reason. We are all different, and we can have different obviously it's not like a pattern the same for everyone. So through the therapy we were trying to get to the point where when this all started, and we found my point, and actually it's usually some traumatic event. The thing is, then there is nothing particularly unusual with being through something traumatic, right? It's just life's not always easy, and sometimes it can bring us to traumatic situations, all of us. The difference is how we cope and how we handle the situation, and sometimes what we do, not all of us, but sometimes we forget to allow ourselves to feel and process the trauma, and we just tend to pretend that it didn't happen, and we just carry on with our lives like everything was fine. And that's the worst thing you can do, because you need to process such events, moments, or situations that are traumatic to you. Process them and find, I don't want to say there is always something positive about it. Usually it's lesson, it's learning experience, or something of that matter. And even when we look at that through this way, we can carry on. When we feel the emotions that we should feel, and we allow those emotions to go through us, And when we give them space, and when we work with them, when we allow these emotions to just come and stay with us for a while, because it's just what has to be done, even though it's very uncomfortable, we do the necessary thing. As I said, not everyone is the same, but processing the traumatic experiences means allow ourselves to grieve, maybe allow ourselves to be angry, allow ourselves to be depressed, allow ourselves to be sad, allow ourselves to have maybe a little breakdown, and feel all those emotions. Just don't push them away and suppress them. It is sad that what we resist persists, and if we just push this somewhere away, we don't want to feel it, and we don't want to think about it, and we don't want to admit that something's even happening, it's not just going away somewhere to the space, it's actually going inwards to our bodies and to our subconscious mind. And that's the worst thing that can happen. It's actually much worse than allow ourselves to feel grief or depression or anger or whatever is coming with the traumatic event, because there is usually some emotion which is very uncomfortable. And if we push it away, it doesn't just go away. It's not just going away, it's going inward to our subconscious mind. So we are not able to process it anymore. We can't do much about it, right? We can't process it, we can control it, and it starts to live its own life in our subconscious mind. And because it still needs to be somehow expressed and processed, it's from the subconscious mind. From there, it's going to every single cell in our body, and it will just express itself in the form of disease, illness, some disorder, or there's just something of that matter, right? So I do believe that illnesses, diseases are something that was suppressed. It wasn't processed, and on a conscious level, we just suppress it. We didn't want to feel it. We didn't want to think about it. We didn't want to accept it. We didn't want to take it as a learning, as an experience, and we just did the worst thing we could do. We put it in our subconscious mind, and from there, it went to every single cell in our bodies, and it was able to do something like this. I've got to such a conclusion, then it's not it's not so important if you really have BO or no. What is important is that something is going on, and there's something you need to heal inside, like in your subconscious mind, in your soul. What you need to do is to go there, but how to go somewhere when we have no let's say no power, conscious power. Like what I do believe the best thing you can do to go to your subconscious mind, or to your soul, if you will, is through spiritual practice. And I'm not somehow the most spiritual human being on the planet, I've never been, and I wasn't even raised that way. But I do think it's necessary. If something like this is happening, we shouldn't ignore it, pretend it's not happening. And I'm telling you one thing, doctors can't help you with this. This is something you should do. I'm not saying on your own, but you should really focus more on what is going on in your mind and what is going on in your subconscious mind, in your soul, and then you can sort out those problems that might be happening with your physical self. So, as I'm saying, deluded people, just their like five senses are not working properly. We don't really know what is happening. There are some theories like why some people have delusions, and you can read about it. I'm no professional, so I'm not going to educate anyone about this topic because I wouldn't be probably saying that right. But what I'm trying to say is, no matter if you really have BO and people can confirm that, it's not really important. Or if you are deluded like I am, or like I believe I am, and there is something going on, something unresolved, something you ignored. You didn't want to process that, you didn't want to solve it, you just suppress it to your inner world, and from there, because it wanted to be sorted, from there it just went to every single cell of your body and to your physical self, even to your mental self and conscious mind. And now it's making your life miserable. Now it's making you suffer. So you know something's going on, and you should process that anyway, as you should have done it before, but you didn't because you chose to ignore it. The best thing you can do is to focus on spiritual practice. Once you find the traumatic event that happened when you developed the condition, no matter the condition, it's not important now. When you developed something that makes you struggle now. So, in my case, with my therapist, we found the traumatic event, we identified it, and she said, "How did you feel after that?" She asked me how I felt. And I said, well, I didn't really feel anything at that time. And she said, well, that's it. You didn't want to feel something, no matter the reason. Just didn't want to, you suppress it. That's a strong traumatic event and you felt just numbness. So you didn't allow yourself to grieve, you didn't allow yourself to feel all those emotions that were connected to the traumatic event. And you just suppress it to your subconscious mind, and now it's trying to express itself through this condition you have now. And this is actually truth, because everything started with that event. Since then, I was hearing comments, seeing people like, making strange faces, and everything started to be really, really bad since then. Obviously, I didn't realize that, and I'm very glad that I chose to visit psychiatrist, and she actually booked me the appointment with therapist. She knew that she just told me this person is going to help you because she's very experienced in this field. So as I said in the previous podcast, I'm working with psychiatrist and with therapist, both of them, and it's really helping. Psychiatrists can prescribe a pill to you. They have a pills for deluded people, so you don't really have to focus on the voices you hear it helps you to just focus on the important things, and if you are really in a bad condition. But beside this, it's necessary to go and visit a therapist. We have therapy like every second week, and I think it's pretty enough. We talk about an hour about what happened to me, and we are trying to process the trauma. I talk about that freely, and I'm trying to admit that actually that was incredibly traumatic event, and maybe it was too much for me. So I was maybe scared to feel the emotions that were accompanied with the event, so I just didn't want to feel it. Well, now I have to feel them again, and I have to reprocess the trauma and work with it. Obviously, it's easier said than done, but anyway, it's a way, and it's a very effective way. So I think it's something that can help a lot of you if you're feeling the same like I used to be feeling, or maybe still sometimes I am. And important thing is to realize that there's something going on inside us, and it might be something going on inside our subconscious mind. There are different kinds of therapies that can help you. We are all different, but I don't think I don't want to discourage anyone, but I think it's very difficult to do this on your own. That needs someone who's experienced in the field, because at this point you are already quite vulnerable, and this condition could make you feel like, I think that's the best thing, just to seek professional that can help you. You do need help. This is just one of the ways. I think it's pretty effective. There are some other ways, and I would like to talk about them too, but maybe sometime later. Now I think I said everything I wanted to say, and again, if you feel like you would like to talk to me, you can message me anytime, and we can have a little chat about that, and I can tell you my experiences. We can share experiences. That would be great. Yeah, if you feel bad, you can text me, you can message me, and I'll try to help you if I can. It would be really nice.